racing wheels. Everybody likes to have them until people see how much they cost. You can have really cheap racing wheels and they're going to be absolute shit. You can get really multiple thousands of euros expensive wheels. They're going to be brilliant. Sadly though, a lot of people are not interested in the low end or the really high end, and their only option is to buy something like a Logitech G27. However, for the same amount of money, if you're willing to let go of the shifter of the G27, which a lot of people I guess don't actually use ever, you can get something like what we're looking at today. It's the Fanatec €270 kit featuring the GT3 RS wheel and some pedals, Club Sport Elite pedals, something like that. For the money, what you get is a really cool wheel, PC and PlayStation compatible, and pedals which are also PC and PlayStation compatible, and of course also Xbox compatible if you get a compatible wheel, with a load sensor in there instead of an annoying spring that doesn't at all feel realistic at all. Like seriously, spring brakes are just awful. I use one myself in the my G27, which is heavily modified, and still it feels like shit compared to a real car. The reason we're at this image right now is because what I wanted to do is paste a quick unboxing in right here. Okay, let's quickly show you guys the box on the GT3 RS version 2, because version 1 was pretty bad and they had to fix some things. This is, and then you open it, because they do that with all their products, and it's just annoying. This is just trolling. This is a bad day for your opponents. Whatever. Yeah, inside the box you just get stuff like paper, different sockets for your grid, iron grid, cables and everything. It comes with all the cables you could possibly need. That's pretty much all you have to know. So, a bad day for my opponents, a bad day for my unboxings as well. Again, showing off the Porsche GT3, which is 2 generations old by now, I think. Quite weirdly, they show these pedals. They don't actually come with these flappy pedals. You get way bigger ones. That's pretty much it for the look around the box and unboxing. Alright, so with the unboxing done, we're going to look around the wheel itself. First thing you notice is a Porsche logo. Yeah, I don't really know why they want you to spend extra licensing money on getting a Porsche logo and GT3 RS sticker on the side. I'm not a big fan of that, but at the same time, a lot of people like Porsche. I'm probably one of the only guys who doesn't really like him, so it might be a cool selling point. Anyway, turning the wheel on, which I think is this button, it does kind of like a self-test on rotation and self-centering, which it doesn't do very well. It then starts making an annoying fan noise, but that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do is go around the buttons first. So you have button here, button there. Same on the other side. 2 little buttons here on the LCD display, but we're going to go into that later. And then you have a D-pad. So this is a full D-pad here at the bottom. Pretty good D-pad actually. And they have 2 buttons underneath it, probably like start and select or something. You then have flappy pedals. Let's move the camera over, hopefully in a not too horrible way. But what you get is these flappy pedals. They're just really small blocks, but they do give these shifters, these levers with them, so you can mount them yourself. It's also like that on the other side. Connection wise, you get a keyboard and mouse PS2 to connect stuff with. There are holes in here in case you want to put those two bars in that you can put a shifter on. And then there's the power button and an on and off button. Moving to the other side. Sorry for this crappy shot. Moving to the other side. Again, a PS2 connector, a USB connector to connect everything up to your computer. And again, the two holes. That's pretty much all except for this button right here, which I don't know what it does. It's probably if you're using it on PlayStation, because apparently people still play on PlayStation instead of PC, you know, the glorious master race. But you have those. Anyway, one of the coolest features about this wheel, other than the really good force feedback and the build quality with the Alcantara and everything, one of the cool features they do is when you press this little button, you can access different settings. So you have 5 presets that you can set, and then you can just confirm them. You also can set your sensitivity, so your degrees of rotation, all the way up from 900 all the way down. You can set force feedback levels, shock levels, like how much do you want it to shock. There's a drift mode. So when you put it in drift mode, the wheel, you know, reacts a lot faster. So you can catch the oversteer. ABS, so vibration when the ABS kicks in. Linearity, so you can, you know, make it go faster, like, you know, speed responsiveness really. This thing, what was it called again? DEA. Probably dead zone. Speed reactivity, you can set that. DPR again, and then you go back to this menu. When you then press the button again, it saves and everything's gone. But it's pretty cool because you can adjust everything on the fly without having to go into software. You can, you know, you have 5 profiles. One would be Assetto Corsa, one would be Project Cars, one would be R Factor, and then you'd still have 2 left. Probably for some Simbim game. Something you're definitely noticing right now is this annoying whining noise. It's not coming from the PC, it's actually coming from the GT3 RS version 2 wheel itself. So there's a fan in there which is making an annoying noise, quite sadly really. Then you have this yellowish ring and, you know, a very nice feeling wheel, but we're going to go into quality later. So right now, look around the box on the pedals. So guys, unboxing of the pedals. Not really an unboxing because they're already out. I'm just showing you around the box really. So it's a black box with a blurry picture on it, and it really is a blurry picture because they focused on this pedal instead of the clutch pedal. Get a product picture on here, which I don't quite get because no one's going to pick it up in a store because Fanatec only sells through their own store. And then some more stuff on the side of this box. Most importantly, the most important thing actually in the box is this thing. A drill pattern. Without it, you're going to be pretty much screwed. So they give you a center line and then your 4 mounting holes, which are incredibly far apart. Quite annoying when you're using a slightly smaller rig to mount it to. I managed to figure out what these pedals are called. They're not Club Sport Elites, they're CSR Elites. So CS always stands for Club Sport, so the R is probably racing, meaning I wasn't terribly wrong after all. As you can see, it uses 3 pedals. So on the left you have your clutch, in the middle you have the brake, and on the right there's the throttle pedal. You can invert those, so if you want to put these upside down, there's an option you can buy for that, so that you can have an upside down pedal should you want that for some weird reason. As you can see, they keep going with Porsche style. So this is like a full metal pedal, and then these are drilled so that your shoe can bite into them. They're not, you know, you're not going to cut your finger going over that, which is pretty cool. because trust me, when you buy a lot of like pedal kits, they're just terrible, really just terrible. But that's not really the important part on these pedals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move around to the back of the pedals. Alright, the pedals from the back. As you can see, as I hope you can see actually, there are these holes right about here. What you do is you undo screws from the bottom, and then you can slide the pedals around so that you can move them closer or further away from each other as you want to. The most important thing about these pedals is this little thing right here. So inside here there's a load cell, and what load cells do is they take pressure and convert that into an electric signal. The electric signal then goes through a controller and is sent back to the computer really, and your drivers. So instead of having something like the clutch, where you have this thingy that goes into this thingy, as this thingy moves through, it sets a movement, which in a real car, you know, when you use hydraulic brakes, it's all pressure controlled, like this load cell, which is also, you know, pressure controlled. So it adds to the realism, and I would go as far as saying that if you don't use a load cell in your racing pedals, if you're anywhere near serious about your stuff, yeah, you should just get load cell pedals, point made anyway. They're pretty cool, you can adjust them every direction. Most importantly though, yeah, you can't see that, there's a screw in here and here. They have these little bushes, and the bar right here has these holes in it. So as you move it up further to the top or further down, the angle of the pedal changes. So you can set the angle of your pedals with that. You can also, something you probably can't see. Yeah, you can't see that. Hey, you can see that. Okay, so here you have two screws, and as you rotate them further down and then you lock it into place with the second one, the spring gets compressed, and Hooke's law pretty much says the more you compress it, the more force you require. So you can set the force needed to control all of that. You can do the same with the throttle, so you can set how light or heavy your throttle is. With the clutch pedal though, I have to say, because right now it's back into normal configuration, I already tried it with maximum spring load, so the stiffest spring possible and least travel possible, and when you do that it kind of feels good, but you definitely, when you get it, have to reconfigure it, which is quite a bit of work, to be honest. Sadly, the brake pedal, you know, you can't set sensitivity on the load cell with this twisty thingy, but you can't actually set the spring preload, which is quite annoying. Anyway, right now we're going to do some messing about, or as I call it, professional racing gaming. And you know, with all of that done, we're then going to switch over to conclusion and give it a cool award, because it really deserves a cool award. Alright guys, so you know, gaming, gameplay with the wheel, I already showed you everything. What I forgot to say, and I should say that first, is that it also comes with a mounting plate for your steering wheel, so a template, and the holes are quite a bit closer together for that one. It comes also with 4 holes, and it also has this bottom clamp, so you can also clamp it to a table, but I don't recommend using it because clamps are in general quite shitty. Anyway, let's just drive around a bit. Again, annoying whining noise coming from the wheel. I'll leave game sound on a very low level. I played for hours and hours and hours with this wheel, so that I had a really good you know, idea of what it is like, and you know, it's pretty cool. So the force feedback, because you can set so many things, it's really good, a lot better than, let's say, G27. But that's not really where this wheel comes into play. The real thing is the awesome build quality. Now the G27 uses leather. This one uses Alcantara, which is pretty much inside out leather. It's a lot more expensive because it's a lot harder to get all these little things right than it is to get, like, you know, the other side of leather right. But it just feels really well, the wheel. The only negative I can say about the wheel is the shifters. They're a bit floppy. On the left, you know, the downshift, yeah, I just blew up my engine. Okay, so the downshift flipper is decent, like, it's pretty good. But the one on the right is, I don't know how to say it, but it just feels indeterminate, you know. You don't really get this nice click feel when you shift. That's probably just a quality thing. So despite it all feeling like really high quality, there must be something wrong with their quality control, with the flippers not being perfect. What is perfect though, or perfect in this price range, is the force feedback. It's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, pedals. Because this kit doesn't come with a shifter thingy, it does come with a clutch pedal. Clutch pedal, in my opinion, goes down a bit too much no matter how you set it. It always has way too much travel. Now in real cars, the clutch pedal is always hanging from the top, almost always, which makes it slightly weird feeling when it's a pedal that you press down, because in real life you just use an awful lot of leverage combined with some hydraulics to get a cool clutch. But my clutch in real life doesn't move anywhere near as much as this clutch moves. So that's, you know, both components have their downsides. Like the wheel has a weird flipper, shifter thingy, and the pedals have a weird clutch. Other than that though, the pedals are bloody brilliant. I really like the way the treble feels. It feels, you know, not as light as a lot of other pedals, and you can still set them to go even stiffer, and you can set the angle and you can set where you want them. So yeah, the treble is brilliant, but it's nowhere near to what the brakes feel like. You really get this cool load sensor feel to it, and it feels pretty realistic. It's not perfect, I wouldn't say it feels exactly the same, but it's 97% there, whereas a spring brake kind of just feels like you have a lot of air in your brakes. So it's really a lot better, and I would definitely recommend this pedal set and wheel, well, you know, this combination for 270 euros over any Logitech wheel at the moment. So with that being said, let's move on to a conclusion. First of all, the award, I'm giving it a gold award, not a platinum, because, you know, maybe they should have sent like a shifter with it as well, because the shifter is only 25 euros or something. One of the main negatives, other than the clutch and the right shifter, flappy pedal thingy, is the fact that Fanatec only sells it through their own web store, which means there is no competition to keep prices down. They sell it at whatever price they want to sell it at. And shipping, I can imagine if you're not living in Germany and you want this wheel, shipping can take quite a while and it can be quite expensive. So with all of that, only a gold award. Other than that though, I would definitely recommend this thing. If you're considering spending anywhere between 200 and 300 euros on a wheel, get this one. If you want to spend more on a wheel, you should probably go for the club sport base with a Formula wheel, because the BMW M3 wheel is a bit too big for the Formula, I think, for the club sport base. But that's a completely different price range, isn't it? and this thing is just a great entry-level wheel. Maybe even semi-serious, because a lot of the people I race with on a regular basis use this wheel, and they're all very, very happy with it. And then after that, because they really like Fanatec, they move on to club sports. Anyway, if you like the video, which I'm sure you all did, press the like button. If you dislike the video, press the button that goes the other side around. Now I definitely blew up my engine. Yeah, please subscribe to the channel, and feel free to leave a comment on what you think the best wheel is. If you're a bit disappointed that there's not really competition for this wheel because the Logitech wheels aren't produced anymore, or they're going to go out of production, or they're not going to make the new version anymore. So yeah, whatever you think that's slightly related to racing wheels, please post it in the comments area.